Right now, somewhere on your phone, there are 17 tabs open. A course you haven't finished, a book you bought but never started, a podcast queued up, promising to make you smarter, better, more optimized. But you feel behind. And somehow, the more you try to learn, the more behind you feel. That's strange, because you were told knowledge is power. Nobody warned you that too much knowledge can become a prison. Think about the last simple decision you made. Not a life-changing one, just something ordinary. What to eat, what to watch, which workout to follow, which supplement to buy, which news source to trust. Did it actually feel simple? Or did it feel like standing in front of 1,000 doors, knowing you could only choose one, and being terrified the best one would stay closed forever? That feeling has a name. And surprisingly, scientists have been studying it for decades. In 2004, a psychologist named Barry Schwartz sat down with a question. Does more choice make people happier? He expected yes. The data said no. People given fewer options made decisions faster, felt more satisfied, and second-guessed themselves less. People given more options froze, they delayed, and when they finally chose, they enjoyed it less, wondering endlessly about the paths not taken. Schwartz called it the paradox of choice. More input, less peace. Now stretch that idea across your entire life, not just jam flavors or streaming shows. Everything. Health advice, parenting philosophies, financial strategies, spiritual practices. You are not choosing between two paths anymore. You are choosing between 200, updated daily, contradicting each other, each one insisting it holds the final answer. Your brain was not built for this. For most of human history, information was scarce. You knew your village. You knew the season. You knew which berries were safe and which ones killed you because someone showed you once, and that was enough. Knowledge was local, slow, and earned through experience. There was no algorithm whispering that somewhere else, someone was doing life better than you. Anthropologists who study foraging societies still see this today. A hunter-gatherer doesn't need to weigh 100 competing diet philosophies. He needs to know the handful of plants and animals in his immediate range, and he learns them by watching his elders, not by scrolling. His decisions are narrow, but they are complete. He is never paralyzed by a fact he hasn't gotten to yet, because there is no infinite shelf of facts waiting behind the one he already has. Compare that to your own week. How many hours have you spent this month reading about a life you are not currently living, instead of tending to the one right in front of you? Your ancestors' brains rewarded the acquisition of useful local knowledge with a small hit of dopamine, because knowing where the water was or which plant healed a wound kept them alive. That reward system is still running inside you, unchanged, except now it fires for information that has nothing to do with your survival. A new headline, a new statistic, a new hot take from a stranger you'll never meet. The circuitry built to keep a small band of humans alive on a savanna is now being triggered hundreds of times a day by a device in your pocket that has no interest in whether you're actually thriving. Then, in the middle of the 20th century, something changed. The economist Herbert Simon studied what happens when information becomes abundant instead of scarce. His conclusion sounds obvious now, but it was radical then. A wealth of information, he said, creates a poverty of attention. Every new fact you consume competes for the same limited resource: your focus, your energy, your sense of what actually matters. You are not drowning in ignorance. You are drowning in access. Here's what nobody tells you about overlearning. It doesn't feel like too much in the moment. It feels like responsibility. It feels like the mature thing to do. Read more, research more, understand every angle before you act. But there's a quiet cost hiding underneath that mature-sounding voice. The cost is that you never act. You just keep circling the runway, gathering more fuel for a flight that never takes off. Have you noticed that the most anxious people you know are often the most informed? There's a reason for that. Anxiety doesn't come from not knowing enough. It comes from holding too many possibilities open at once, unable to close any of them, because closing a door feels like losing information you might need later. The mind treats an open question like an open wound. It keeps returning to it, checking on it, picking at it, long after the moment for a decision has passed. In 2000, another researcher, Sheena Iyengar, ran a now famous experiment in a grocery store. One table displayed 6 jams, another displayed 24. The bigger table drew more browsers, more curiosity, more people stopping to look. But when it came time to actually buy something, the 6-jam table outsold the 24-jam table by nearly 10 to 1. More options attracted attention. Fewer options produced commitment. Your life is that grocery store. You might be standing at the wrong table. Say you want to start exercising. You open your phone for a plan. Minutes in, you've read lift heavy, then lift light and often. Cardio first, then cardio kills your gains. 4 videos later, you haven't done a single push-up. You've done research. It feels like progress. It has the texture of effort, but you're not stronger, not calmer, just more informed and more stuck than when you started. There's a name for this. Analysis paralysis. Not a flaw. It's what happens when a brain built to weigh 5 or 6 real options is handed thousands, updated hourly, each one engineered to sound more urgent than the last. Most people never notice. Platforms make money when you stay uncertain. A decision ends your session. Doubt extends it. The algorithm doesn't hand you an answer. It hands you the next opinion, dressed up as one. You look up an hour later. The push-up still hasn't happened. None of this makes learning the enemy. The problem isn't knowledge. It's mistaking the gathering of knowledge for the living of a life. Reading about discipline instead of practicing it. Watching a video on focus instead of closing the tab and just starting. The Stoics had a phrase for this centuries ago. A wandering mind, one that touches everything and commits to nothing. So what breaks the pattern? Before the next video, ask, am I gathering what I actually need? Or avoiding the discomfort of just choosing? Give yourself permission to know less than others. Someone who knows 3 things and lives by them outlasts someone who knows 300 and acts on none. Close doors on purpose, not out of fear, out of respect for your own attention. A closed door isn't a loss. It's energy you get to keep. Let good enough be good enough. Not every decision needs the 24-jam table. 6 is fine. Nobody on their deathbed wishes they'd spent one more evening comparing toothpaste reviews. Real confidence was never about knowing more than everyone else. It's trusting what you already know is enough to take one real step. Picture yourself a year from now, looking back at tonight. You won't remember the article you almost read or the 5th opinion on training. You'll remember whether you started. That's the strange thing nobody tells you about information. None of it is the story of your life. It's just the noise around it. The story is what you did while it played in the background. Somewhere right now, someone is closing their 40th tab, finally doing the small thing they'd been reading about for weeks. That could be you tonight. Not because you learned something new. It's because you stopped waiting to.